while. You know the drill. Second week. Here we go. First and foremost, I wanted to let you all know that Lux Vision Studios on all platforms is live streaming this event. And they got it on like literally every platform. Super amazing. So we're live on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, you name it. They got even like more platforms. I mean, I might be forgetting some, but shout out to Lux Vision Studios, so that you can watch this. You don't even have to watch it live. You can watch it after the event. Anytime you want to watch it, just gotta watch it for real. Um, but welcome back, everybody, to week 2 of Nurturing Your Creativity. For those that are new and just tuning in to what we have going on here, we're so happy to have you. My name is Coda KOD. I'm a 22-year-old artist from Minnesota. But little about me, I'm a singer, songwriter, poet, rapper, world builder, visual artist, philosopher, and motivational speaker. And I've been plotting on this creativity seminar for quite some time. Last week was a great success, so thank you again to Gail Benning. That was such a great, amazing conversation. But we're going to keep the ball rolling and get the conversation to an even deeper level. The topics we're centering everything around today is flow state, maximizing your creative work ethic, and like the importance of imagination, the epitome of all of it. Joining me for this one-of-a-kind conversation is a heavy hitter in the space, fashionably showed up late to the party in here and dominated. If you don't know him, I don't know what else you've missed. So he's someone I'm proud to call a friend, a fellow creator, and overall a brother. Can everyone please throw up some confetti and give a warm welcome to the stage, RJ, the creator? Come on out,
Hold on,
brother.
my battery running low.
Let's go.
Man,
Welcome.
I was trying to do front flip over the couch.
That was that was a good thing. Now we were trying to get you to do like a helicopter intro or something like super Mission Impossible, but that was
Yeah.
pretty good. That sufficed right there. But what's good, bro? How you feeling tonight? I know you just
feeling
got out
good,
of build
man.
mode. You're always
Yeah. I'm a little overwhelmed at the moment trying to get this. It's crunch time, being Friday and release date, so it's been nonstop. I
Yep.
probably won't sleep for like the next 3-4 days.
Yeah,
So,
man,
but yeah.
and that's something we're gonna definitely break into. But I mean, first of all, though, last week I started off by giving Gail his flowers. I wanted to just give you your flowers right away. I believe that I was one of the first people you met in here, or like I met you in like the early stages of like you finding Horizon. And I was hopping around worlds with MF Sun, and you hopped us to one of your worlds, and Sun and I were like, "Who the heck is this?" Like, and instantly, it didn't take long before people were hopping to your diving world, and you started showing me the stuff you were working on. But I've had the honor of being by your side, popping in on your builds as you work on them, and I'm consistently not impressed, but rather absolutely mind blown every single time I come into build mode with you. It's unreal. There's things seriously in here that were not possible in here until RJ made it possible. And your work ethic is insane. The amount of things you have done and finished in a project from one day to the next is inhuman in all the best ways possible, of course. And just the amount of innovation you brought to the platform in such a little time is just remarkable. I admire it so much. And I think I speak in agreement with everyone I've spoken with about you when I say that you are one of the best creators that has ever touched the platform. So I just had to get that all out of the way because flowers to you, man. You've worked hard. You deserve that. Man, I might even need a drink of water after all that.
Yeah, bro. I'm glad I don't got a pro, so you don't see me like cheesing over here so hard.
Man, I'm never gonna do it. Even if I get a pro, I'm never gonna have the face tracking.
No, I don't want face tracking at all because I want to be able to do my white lies and you not know it.
Right.
Oh, this is nice.
Yeah. No, this is great. So what's
Yeah,
this doing here, right?
yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah. Oh,
but yeah, no, seriously though, props to you. You've done so much and have so much more that you're planning on doing. But we're so glad to still have you here. I'm still glad to have you here. And however, a lot of a lot has happened for us to get to this very exciting moment in time. Should we catch everybody up on
yeah.
how we got here
Because we're
and
almost
like
out of here.
yeah, man. Tell us about like first of all your time in Horizons and like just everything you've built thus far, and then kind of we could crack into the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
nitty gritty if you want. But yeah,
Yeah, so it's
just how you
funny,
started
man.
in.
Just stumbled in here like just kind of out of like just boredom. Honestly, like it was funny. So I had the headset when it first came out. I had actually bought it for my kids, like most adults that's been in the platform. They just bought it for the kids or whatever, just to kind of like. But also, you want to try it out. Like you're curious, like I want to check this out. But I get it from my boys, and I got on Population One. That's the only thing I did on the headset for like a year. Um, and my kids never got to use it. They're like, Dad, can I use the Oculus? It's dead, but it was charging. So I never got to use the Oculus. I had to buy another one. But anyways, I played Population One. I got to like level 60. Like I was, always. And then one day I was like bored, and I was like, let me check out Horizons. I go in there, and the first two people I run into when I get in Horizon, the first two is Leo the Architect and Matlow. The first two
Heavy
people.
hitters in the space.
Yeah.
Those are some big
So it
names.
was crazy, like how that happened, and like so I ended up getting a conversation with them. We're talking, and the first world I went to outside of I don't remember where because I don't think venues was a thing then. It was a different I forgot where we met up at. But anyways, we went to the Bentley Mansion, had a lot of conversations about just technology, whatever, typical Leo architect and Matlow conversation, stuff that obviously I was interested in. So I was in there for like an hour straight just talking. And then they got into building in here and kind of explained to me how easy it was just to go and build and start building. And I had
Mm.
no idea, I was like, really? I was like, okay. So I was really intrigued by that. And so soon as we stopped talking, the conversation, it got kind of late. I jumped straight into build mode, and the rest is history from there. As soon as I got into build mode, started playing with things, I was like, so what intrigued me and what got me hooked was the simple fact, like, my day-to-day job, I'm a 3D animator, graphic artist. I worked in game design and stuff for a while, and so you get kind of burnt out a bit working on a computer screen for so long, constantly doing stuff, and and to be able to build in a 3D space like that instantly, like live, just creating things and like just making my idea, but also just being able to immerse in it in a 3D space and actually be in it. It was just something different, and it felt like so alive. But it was also like, when you're working and you're doing something for so long, it was just like a new creative spark that I needed, because that's what happens to me on my like art path. Like my entire life I've been an artist, creative, crazy imagination, creating stories and video. My entire life, that's just who I always have. That's what everybody knows me as. High school, whatever, he was the artist, the art kid. That's all I was ever known that for. And so, and building stuff and creating things, me and my kids, like we tend to, like, I think a year ago I built a claw machine for my kids using like popsicle sticks, little motors and everything, and it actually worked. It was actually
Dude,
pretty cool.
what?
I used like so I took apart a remote control car, used motors and created like a whole track system, and
Like,
like I used like and it actually worked. It was insane. So yeah, that's the stuff I literally do, like just for my kids. So the
oh
crazy thing is
man.
now my kids are not impressed by anything I do anymore. And that's the most annoying thing now. So like when they're like little, as they get older, they're like, "Oh, this is so awesome!" And now they're getting to the age where it's like, "Okay, that's cool," because I've
Yeah.
done so many things, and then see me do so many things to where now it's like it's not easy to impress my kids anymore. So that kind of annoying, but the stuff I'm currently kind of getting into, they're actually kind of they're like, like, oh, okay, that's actually pretty cool. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, so this was just it was just a different thing, a different, spark of creativity that kind of just, I fixated on. And then I kind of like came in and I'm like looking at the platform for what it was, what it could be. And I'm like, this could be something here. Why not give it a try and start building and see what I can do, and see. And so I came into this entire experience with the mindset of like innovating, right? It's like, and that's kind of what I do with anything that I do, any space I walk into or whatever. It's like, how can I do anything different? How can I be different? And how can I achieve and do things no one else is doing? Or just, and my key thing is being original, right? It's like creating original stuff, just
Mhm.
whatever comes to my head, and that was just something that I was gifted with is the ability to completely recreate whatever it is I think, right? It's like I've always been that since a kid. It's like if I think it, I can recreate it however, doing whatever. And if I don't know right then and there, I'm gonna figure it out, right? It's just the same with this platform. I came in and I was like, I want to create this shark world, right? But I had no idea about building yet or scripting or anything for that matter. But I'm going to create this shark world somehow. It's an idea. So I dove into scripting, I dove into building and modeling, and then as I'm going through the motions and figuring it all out, until it got to the point where it was, and so that's just kind of who I am. It's just I'm going to figure it out. I'm not going to really ask questions. I'm not going to look for answers, even though that's good, to ask for help. But I've always been that type of person that's like, I need to figure out for myself so I can learn, right? It's like it's like me in
Yeah.
navigation. My wife's really impressed about my navigation skills. Like I'll not know any street names, or I can go to another city like Miami or somewhere like that, not know any street names, but know exactly where I am and how to get where I am and or where I need to go at all times, right? And it's because
Mhm.
like I'm one of those people that don't mind getting lost.
Mm.
Right? I
Yeah.
can travel through street after street after street, not knowing where I'm at, but I don't care. Like I'm not worried. Like I'm learning where I'm at. I'm learning where I'm going. I'm constantly kind of looking at the streets and buildings and indicators in the city or where I'm at. And then from that point on, I'll never get lost again because I completely know exactly where I was and how to get back to that point, right? And so that's just
Mhm.
kind of how my mind works. It's the same thing with art, it's the same thing with being creative. Like it's just I guess it's technically what you consider like a photographic memory, kind of the situation where you just remember things, you process
Mhm.
things. But that's a whole like saying, right? It's like you need to get lost or you need to be lost, be found, or to kind of, what I'm saying, things like that. So yeah, I mean, my mind is literally how I'm talking right now. Just
Mhm. No, for
constantly
sure.
spinning 100 miles an hour, constantly
Yeah.
moving 100 miles an hour. And so it's one of those things where, like being in this space, I'm able to create those ideas and things rapidly, right? Which is not
Mhm.
entirely the same thing with the computer or in what I've been doing for years, right? This is different because it's like, you know what? I'm thinking about, creating a experience where I get abducted by aliens and you have to fight your way off a spaceship so and you can hop
Yeah.
in here. I can hop in here right now and have it done by the morning time, right? That's not
Yeah.
possible anywhere else. It's just not. And then not only that, you can actually be in it, right? You're not holding a controller, you're not looking at your phone, you're not, on the computer or looking at a TV screen. You're in it, right? You're actually experiencing it. And so when I was creating for games and I'm doing all these telling these stories and stuff like that, right? I try to do that. I did all that with feeling, like when you're reading it, when you're seeing it, when you're playing through it, feeling a certain way. But like with this experience, you can really dive into emotions and feelings because as you're building, you can really like legitly feel your surroundings, feel the experience, feel the environments and things like that. And so it's
Yeah.
completely different. I mean, you can't feel the wind blow or you can't,
Right.
things of that nature. But man, you could just pop a fan right here. You
Right.
could,
Yeah.
you can get kind of creative with it, just things of that nature. But man, yeah, and it was a great experience, man. And so I dove into, but the problem was I dove in it too heavy to where it took up a lot of my time. I mean, I spent way too much time in here over the past year, to where like nothing really was happening, right? And
Yeah.
so I got to a point where I'm like, okay, what am I doing here? I love it, I enjoy it, it's fun, like, and it's something different, but it's taking me away from my actual work. It's taking me away from a lot of my family times and things like of that nature. And so I was kind of getting into a place where I'm like, it sucks because it's like I want to stay here, but it's just like, I mean, I can't, And so I try to figure out a way to make it make sense and for a reason for me to stay here, right? Try to figure out how can I capitalize on, some type of financial gain or whatever in the space. And once I realized that wasn't happening, I was on my way out. I was just like, it's time to go. Like I have to start focusing on what matters. I take care of my family. That's my career. That's my things of those natures. And then boom, Horizon drug me back in.
Mm-hmm.
Gave me trial mesh. They gave me trial mesh.
Yep.
Literally what I've been waiting for since the day
But you
I
were
got
just
stepped foot in
leaving.
here.
Like, yeah.
I was. But now
Man.
I can build whatever I want in 3D and now I can like create so yeah,
Just
and
in
so now
time.
I'm back. Yeah, so I almost left, but they drug me back in. But man, has it been fun though, with now me being able to fully do what I want to do, actually tell my stories, my characters, my everything. I'm able to fully do all those things exactly how I want it to and how I want to. There's no limitations on design or certain things. Obviously, there's always limitations in here because we're not at that point now where it's like because building in 3D or in animation in general, like there is no limitations, right? You don't worry about resolutions and vertices and geo and none of that stuff in
Right.
3D. You build it however you want, and
Yeah.
you want it to be the craziest thing possible. More polys, more, you're pushing it,
No
Whereas here you're
limitations.
kind of limited.
Yep.
None, and so I built like that for so long. So that is still kind of, and that was very difficult with primitives for sure.
Yeah.
But
Man, you maxed it out though.
Yeah.
With what
Well,
you can
yeah,
do
I
with
put the
primitive
limits.
shapes, man. I saw some things that you did with primitive shapes when I
Yeah.
walked into Neon. And for those that don't know building terms, I'm sorry, but I walked into Neon City, his primitive city, and it was all the buildings were one shape. All of them. I was
Yeah.
like, how did you do that? And
Oh
he
no,
had
so let
like
me tell y'all this. Let me tell y'all this. So I brought Coda in on the build with me in Neon City, right? And it was hilarious. So Coda comes in, he starts building or stuff like that. And I told him straight off the bat, I was like, I don't like sharp edges, right? I don't like cubes, and I need some bevels. I need some in certain areas. And because
yeah.
Coda likes to do a lot of symmetrical, sharp edges and things of that nature, which is fine for certain things. But then he started bringing in buildings and stuff that was so heavy with objects, and I was like, hold on, Coda. I was like, let me show you something. You see this skyline right here? I was like, each one of these buildings are maybe 2 objects. And he was like, no way. I was like, yeah, they're 2 objects. He brought this building in. I was like, I don't even know. It was probably like 10%
like,
geo.
yeah, I don't know.
I was like, that ain't gonna work. That's not gonna work. I was like, we're gonna
Yeah.
have to knock that thing down. So
But it
yeah,
looked
his
dope.
buildings
It looked dope.
it
Gotta
didn't make
admit
the
it.
cut. The buildings didn't make the
They make the
cut.
But yeah, still built a little bit in there, and I'm honored to have a
Yeah.
little bit of a part in Neon. My heart lies forever in the Zion Lounge.
Yeah, and then
Go
you
visit,
have a
go
pretty
visit
decent.
Neon.
You have a house party. You was on that one as well, where you
Yeah.
worked on robots and
Man,
no, you did
proud.
the whole upstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
The whole upstairs.
Proud about that, dude. That was a great build. Good times.
Yeah.
Uni and JB have spent a lot of time. I'm hoping to have him as a guest soon. He doesn't know it yet, so JB, prepare yourself.
He, he's down for whatever, whenever.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, I wanted to go back on like just back to like present day then, like now, where we are. Tell us about Battle for Steel City, just so that we have an idea of the project, what you're working on, what you've evolved to in the space now, and what's like this is the next big thing for you, man. And it's huge. Like this is a really big deal, this project. So fill the people in. What is Battle for Steel City?
Yeah, so Battle for Steel City is literally just a Trimesh Neon City. So Neon City was this kind of thing I built. It was a story that I kind of came up with and formulated over like a year or two. And so these characters and it's like a 10 chapter, like I had like a 10 chapter book written on literally the story for this city already. Like it's so vast. I even have stories and storylines that span outside of that where I probably can create multiple books and sections and story. It's just huge and it just keeps. And so what's cool about this space again is I'm building the story out as I'm building the city out, right? So like as I'm building the city, for prime example, like I wanted to introduce these products that give people special abilities, right? And so when I introduce these things or I come up with these ideas, it has to make sense. It has to fit into the story. And so I'm adding more narratives, I'm adding more parts of the story. So I'm like, okay, so there has to be this company, right? So I came up with this pharmaceutical company in the area called Cure that's like creating these products, but they're pretty much having like create horrible side effects and these, but they give you these special abilities, and the people are kind of hooked on them, but they can't stop using them because they're needing them to keep up with the robots, and they're just wanting the special abilities and things they have. And so this Cure company is like a monopoly that's like creating all of the things and stuff that you consume in Steel City. And so literally I formulated that in like a day spent time because I was like, I'm adding these products, but I wanted a backstory on the products, right? So like every little thing in Steel City has some form of backstory and a reason why it's there. And so what's crazy, like, and I'm just going through the city, come up with these different characters and things like that. But with this new, with Trimesh and me being able to build in 3D, which is literally what I do for a living, I was completely able to build a city from the ground up, from scratch, detail, to the point where like literally what's in my like what was I envisioning, and so every little thing is literally from my head and just built exactly how I envision it and how I'm telling the story pretty much. And so like locations and certain stores and shops and names of shops, and so like yeah man, it's nuts. I mean, this place is it's not only is it like going to be massive and well built and textured and things like that, but there's so much to do there. And so it got to a point where I was working on it by myself for so long. I'm never gonna get this thing done. So I brought in King of Miami and Biggie Pauls to help me script it out. And so they're killing it. I mean, right now they're both in right now scripting. I just left her before I came here to, because I'm having to import all these objects and certain things and do certain things
Shouts
for them.
out to them.
And
Let's go.
yeah,
Getting
they've
work
been
done.
killing it.
Yeah.
So King of Miami has completely created this insane interface and store system, because there's an actual wearable store where I have created 60 different wearables that spawn in that you can actually purchase with in-world currency in there. There's an entire there's hoverboards. So you have a hoverboard that you can actually get upgraded. So you can upgrade it 3 times, and once you get to your third upgrade, you can actually fly that through the city. And they have graphics on the boards, everything like great, just these hoverboards that you can ride around the city. That's a whole store in itself, and it's all interactive touch screens and interfaces, and all the audio I did edit it and brought in for every interaction and every store interface. And then each individual robot has its own set dialogue and name and backstory, right? An entire city as you walk through the city. It's insane too, because I even went through each individual group of robots. So I made groups of robots that's having full conversation. So I actually have scripted to the robots to have back and forth conversation. So you can literally sit and listen on to like a group of robot for like 10-15 minutes, literally going back and forth with a conversation. Like
And it's
there's
new
literally a group of
conversation.
robots.
Yeah.
It
It's dope.
changes. Yeah.
Really
And
good.
they move through the city, meet another robot, and have a totally different conversation. And then when you
Yeah.
walk up to them, they'll actually acknowledge you when you walk up and talk to you. And then they actually have different dialogue based on your player persistence variable and like what you've done in the city, pretty much. And so it's just this insane city ecosystem that I created where it feels so alive, and like you're literally can go by yourself and still feel like this thriving city with robots and noises. And yeah, and I created like all these cool spaces where you can kind of climb to and hide in and kind of just watch and hang out, or and I want to make it an environment that people can just hang out, go to. They don't have to do the story, don't have to play through any of that. They can just go and explore and collect objects and things of that nature. So it's cool. I created a spawn system where there's a pawn shop in Steel City where so what happens in a sense is you're in the bottom of the city, and so the people at the bottom, they kind of just scavenge for items and things that fall from the tops of the city. So people drop things or throw their trash down there, and so sometimes these items are of value, and so you just go through the city finding these items and taking them to the pawn shop, checking their value, and you actually get more currency for those things. And so some of the things are a little rare. You won't find as many. They'll just kind of spawn randomly in the tops of buildings, or they'll be a lot harder to find and get to. But those, like, and so we have weapons. Like, we have a whole weapon system, like these light blades that you can actually have to combat each other. They're, I mean,
It's
it's insane.
levels upon
It's
levels
nuts.
upon levels of things that have never really been in Horizon before. This is all new stuff.
It's
And
it's
that
pretty
was the
much like a
mission.
triple A game,
Innovation. Yeah,
literally.
like innovation. You
It's
came
like
in
a
here to innovate, and that's exactly what you did. And Steel City is the
yeah.
perfect example of it, man. And you've just
And
worked
I'm
so hard
explaining
at it.
it,
Like,
and people are still like not even really comprehending or understanding either.
right.
It's
You
like one of
gotta
those situations
experience
you're
it.
not yeah, no, you're not gonna until you step in there and actually see it and experience it, you're like it's I could talk about it all day, you can see pictures, but none of that does it any justice whatsoever, because it's like the people that I have brought there, it's just funny to see. Like, that's the best part for me, is seeing people's initial reaction that hasn't been there, haven't been there yet.
Mm,
Just standing there and wait for them to load in, and then watch their face, because they just look up and they're just like, what is going on? And I'm like, I
yeah,
know,
yeah,
I feel the same way. I'm like, my mind's blown. Like, I literally stand in the city sometimes, and I'm like, this is Horizons, right? It's like we're in
yeah.
Horizon Worlds right now, and it's like to a point where I'm not even. I can't believe that it's even possible, And so the build itself, too. My goal with the build was to prove what's possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, I have a background in it. I know everything there is about 3D, all these different things. But what the people that do have access to it, and the people who will eventually at some point get access to it, I wanted to showcase like what is possible with this, right? Because you have so many people right now that's timid and scared of Trimesh and 3D. They want to stick to primitive. They want to just build in primitive, and that's fine. But I'm like, you have this at your fingertips, right? You have this ability to build and Trimesh in 3D. It's like, why are you not using that, right? It's like, I get primitives, I get that, but it's like, you have Trimesh, right? It's like you literally can do anything you want. And that's kind of what I'm trying to show people, is like, this is, this and this build this. I'm trying to push the platform in a certain direction. I'm trying to, just show what Horizon is capable of, and I wasn't sure what it was capable of. I wasn't sure what was going to happen when I initially was going to bring this city in here. I was like, this is not going to work. I don't know how I'm going to do this, because I'm looking at it in Blender. I'm like, this is crazy. I'm looking at it like, there's no way
Yeah,
I'm getting the city in the Horizon. And so once I started importing, and I looked and I stood in there for the first time, I was like, holy crap. I was like, this is insane. So yeah, man, I'm hoping it inspires people. I hope it, gets people, and the people that I have brought there who have experienced it, it has pushed them into actually learning, right? And so one thing I tell people is, if Horizon fell off the face of the earth right now, primitive doesn't transcend anywhere else, right? Like, what's good primitive building in Horizon is going to do for you anywhere else, especially if this is where you're making money, or this is where your life is this what you're putting all your time into. You should be learning 3D. Like, like, that doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, you should be learning 3D modeling, because at the end of the day, if Horizon just crashed or it just somehow disappear off the face of Earth, you can go anywhere else, right? You can build in any other platform or any other headsets, but by learning 3D. So it's like, you need to start learning 3D now, right?
yep,
It, and that's why I try to tell people. Also, like, it's a career, and I get for the people who have a career already, right? People who have college degree, they ever got a career where they've been working in some field for a certain amount of time for a long time. They're like, I'm not trying to get into that. That's like a whole nother career, which is understandable. But
yeah,
if you don't have a career and this is what your life is, and this is what you should be learning 3D. Um,
yeah.
and I make a pretty good living 3D, and it's literally the future. Everything's gonna be 3D. Everything 3D modeling is the future. And so, my kids, I've already started teaching them, how to use Blender and things of that nature. They're trying to create video games. My sons come to me every other day with like game ideas, and it's
Yeah.
hilarious because like my 10-year-old, he'll come to me with the game literally that's already like literally like he'll explain it to me. And I was like, that sounds like what's that game? Well, Puppy Playtime?
Mm,
Or
yeah.
that sounds
Yeah.
like that sounds completely like the game you play every day. It's like
Right.
think of something different, right? It's like be
Yeah.
creative, think of something else,
Yeah.
and things like that. So that's funny, but yeah, man, that's the thing. I'm trying to get them in the mindset of what the future is going to be. They're
Hmm.
really into this whole game idea and building and creating games and stuff. Now that's the good thing though. With my career and what I do for a living, it makes me happy because my kids are proud of it, right? It's like what kid doesn't want to, what kid wouldn't want their father to be like a game creator or you know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
when they're
Yeah.
explaining that to like their friends and stuff,
It's like
like
the coolest.
everyone's like, yo, that's so cool. Like my wife, like, it says the same thing. She tells people what I do for a living. And it's funny because I asked her, like, what do you tell people, Because I was curious, because I do so much stuff. So it's kind of hard to kind of consolidate it all.
Yeah.
And she explained it really well. I was like, okay, cool. He builds, does game. He's a game developer. I was like, yeah, you might as well just sum it up to that.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it is. But she explains what I do, and everyone's like, oh, that's so cool. So it makes me proud for sure
Hmm.
that the family and my kids are proud of it.
Yeah.
And so that's what
That's
keeps me
huge.
going, man. Like my son, we were in the car leaving from school the other day. He's like, Dad, why are you not famous yet? I was like, man, I was like, people like me don't really get famous, right? It's like we get well known and we're like we can do cool stuff and I can make a lot of money, but it doesn't mean I'll be famous.
Hmm.
It's just and that's just what I do for a living. I'm in the shadows. My
Yeah.
company could be well known, but you never know you don't know who worked on half these video games, right? Like or maybe the company name,
True.
but like, I mean, for example, going back to my history, so I actually worked on actual video games. I worked on Batman at Arkham Asylum, Infamous. I worked on trying to think what else. A bunch of indie games. I mean, I can't even count how many indie animated films and games I've worked on over the years. I've done a lot of
Yeah.
3D modeling for like just random stuff. Like I did T Grizzly's entire actual catalog for Grand Theft Auto.
Mm. Dang, dude,
Yeah.
that's
So
crazy.
yeah, but
I
that's
didn't
the
even know
thing.
that
You
you
would
did
never know.
Arkham
Yeah, you
Asylum
wouldn't
too. That
even.
was crazy. I grew up playing that.
Yeah, but that's what I'm like a piece of a big pie, like a little slither.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's not something that you get noticed for or known about or any of those different things. And those times were times I was actually like barely getting paid for that stuff. Like I was just trying to create a name for myself, trying to get into this industry. But that's the thing, man. The platform and where we're heading is a game is an actual this is a game world, and being a creator in this space is going to change drastically because of that. And now we're getting back to the realm I've been in. And so the problem is what people don't realize is like the gaming industry is so tough. So
Hmm.
it's no different than now, right? But this platform is so small still to the point where I see it for what it is. Like, and I'm trying to be on the front of the wave right now, right? It's like I see it because I know what's going to happen. It's just going to get.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's going to happen, and that's unfortunate for a lot of creators, in the space because of what it's been for so long. But at the end of the day, it has to make money, and they're scrambling. And the problem that the platform faced for a very long time is they try to pass it off as a social platform, right? But everyone saw it as a gaming platform. That was the clash, right? They try to force it
Yeah.
like this is a social platform, and everyone's like it's a gaming platform or it's a video game. And so that was the issue that they faced. And now they're pivoting towards gaming because that's literally what it's been seen as for so long. And so now we're going into gaming. And that's
Yeah.
why you see like the different the algorithms and the world changes and how it's changed so much. And so now you're losing art, you're losing creativity, you're losing originality because everyone right now is just trying to create these little quick crapshoot games, and it's really frustrating. The most annoying
It
thing.
is. It is.
And I'm hoping that Steel City can change that. I'm hoping Steel City completely alters all of it because what I'm trying to do, in a sense, is change the entire blueprint,
Yeah.
right? And in order to do that, I have to prove that what I'm doing works, right? And so that's kind of what it is right now. And I feel like that's what's happening with Steel City. I think it's all eyes on Steel City to see what happens when it do drop. The traffic, the numbers, and all these different things, and what happens because I feel like if it does explode and it takes off, it's going to alter the entire platform.
I agree.
But
Well said.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it drops Friday. I'm excited for it to drop Friday. And the thing is, it's like I'm not entirely. I mean, I'm excited to see what happens. I just can't wait for people to populate it and see what happens. Right. I just want to see how people completely just
Yeah.
immerse into the city and just see what happens with how people like just if they click up and get into like create their own
Right.
games, or you got people like
So
I
much
don't know what's gonna happen.
reaction. It's
Yeah.
endless. There's unlimited options, so there's like gonna be unlimited amounts of people doing all sorts of different things. It's gonna be a party on Friday too.
So
I'm really looking forward to
that
that.
might be changed.
Word,
So I might
but
have to move it to the
we're still gonna drop
following
it.
weekend. Yeah,
Yeah.
Friday. So the problem is I was gonna do an event on the 6th, but the problem is I feel
Hmm.
like it's gonna be a lot to have the launch on 5th and then an event on the 6th because it drops the 5th. There might be issues or things we have to
True.
fix. So yeah, it's just too close. So I'm gonna do it the following weekend.
That's smart.
That's why I
There you
haven't
go.
really
Following
promoted.
weekend, we turning up. We turning up.
Yeah, so I have a
Um,
rooftop lounge in this place where we're actually gonna be doing events.
yeah.
Dakota's gonna be performing there. I got a couple
Oh yeah.
artists, and so I'm actually gonna do like probably a artist performing there every other week, actual events there. That's the thing. This city is not only like an actual gaming experience, but is also a hangout space. So I created spaces for people to actually just hang out, don't even be in the story or immerse into anything else. If they just want to come there and hang out. And what's cool too is we're creating a system where you can choose to be just a regular citizen, or you can choose your pathway. So that way, if you are a citizen of Steel City, someone attacks you, they actually go to jail. Like I guess in jail. We got a
That's
fine
right. Yeah.
system where you'll get fined, sent to jail, all those things. You get sent to jail. Every time you go to jail, you're there for a couple seconds longer, and then you're eventually banned for 24 hours, and then so on.
Mm,
So yeah, we did that specifically for the annoying troll people or anybody in there that's just and people who just want to hang out, and don't want to be in the mix of everything. They just want to enjoy the city.
yeah. And the views of it, because you were just saying, people kind of lost the art of it when it's so game centered and so popularity centered, just trying to drive numbers into worlds. Shout out to all the creators still doing artistic stuff and trying to make things look good and taking the extra time for the details. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, breaking open the conversation even further, then seeing Steel City now, I've seen your primitive builds too, and even those were lifelike and breaking boundaries for the primitive worlds. One in particular that I want to bring up is the Lila stories. You did a series of
Yeah.
horror worlds that are absolutely terrifying, and I've been like, I'm a horror fanatic. I love horror movies. I worked at a haunted house. I love just like all that stuff, just like a good old scare.
Yeah.
And there's not many scary experiences on here. Drop Shot does really good ones, and
Yeah.
you made this next level though, like scary horror experience that is unlike anything I feel like I've even experienced in VR chat, which there's scarier stuff over there than in
Yeah.
Horizon. So I mean,
For
the
now.
ability to make, yeah, for
For
now,
now.
the ability for you to convey a feeling. I bring that up just to like ask you the question of like, how do you get people to feel what you're feeling when you're in a project? What is that
So
process?
so that's the crazy thing. So like I build with feeling, you know. So like for instance, like I built Steel City like 5 or 6 times. Actually, no, correction, probably like 9 or 10 times. So what would happen is I'd build it out, I'd stand in it, I'd walk through it, and I'm like, I didn't get the feeling, right? It's like this feeling that I just was looking for. I'm like looking around and I'm like, no, I this ain't it. And so I literally will go online, I'll visit other people's worlds, I'll go to VR chat to find that feeling, right? I'll step in somewhere, I'm like, this is it. This is the feeling I want, right? So actually, sometimes I don't even know what feeling or what it is that I'm actually looking for. I actually gain inspiration from other places, you know, and I experience it. Like for instance, for the Stranded universe, um, I'm from a beach town, right? I'm from Wilmington, North Carolina, this little, you know, beach town off the coast of North Carolina. And I'd literally go to the beach and just sit there, listen to the sounds, feeling everything, you know? And so that's kind of how I build. I go in, I'm like, all right, I find that feeling and then I go and try to recreate that feeling every time. And
Mm,
until I get it, I would keep building and building until I stand there and I'm like, this is it. This is how, and that's how I get people and the user to have that same feeling, right? It's like, yeah, I mean, everyone feels differently, have different and things of that nature, but it's just me as a creator myself. I have to feel it, and I know like if I feel it, a lot of other people will as well. And so and also it comes with years of like obviously technical skill too, having a certain eye for it. Because not only do you have to build a certain way, you have to use colors, you have to use lighting, you have to use there's a lot of different elements to creating an environment that feels a certain way, right? Like they're not just you really have to like know these things. You have to have the eye for it. And you know, a lot of people don't have it. You're either born with it or you're not. It's just that simple. Unfortunately, some people are not. And that's the thing that I try to explain to people, you know, yeah, you can learn things all day. Just some people just have the eye. And
mhm,
that's a lot of your really talented artists and creators, you know, and people who just know how to do it or just know how to because like, you know, for example, I can go into a build and I just know where my light should be. I know where my shadow should be. I know where my colors should be. I know everything. I when I see it, and I'm like, that's not right. Let me change that. You know, you just know when you're looking at it. Oh, you know, if I'm feeling this way, then these colors, this color scheme should be this way. If this is, you know, like for instance, like even with Lila, the horror stories and stuff like that. I don't like doing horror. I don't even typically do horror things in general. I never have, you know. I was actually just that was just like an experiment. I was playing with Lila, like the story of this little girl who was possessed and things of that nature. And it was funny, like I was just messing around. I built her first from the original hallway build that I had. And I started playing around with that. And I was like, she's pretty creepy. I was like, huh, okay. So I'm like, you know what? Let me build something around her, you know? And so that's
mhm.
literally how it all started from that moment. Literally just like build like this little creepy girl and I was like, let me build something else. So I built the hallways, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna call it the hallway. And then the whole story starts to formulate, and that's just kind of how I work. I'm like a free flow person, you know. I don't have like a story, and then I work off that. No, it starts with it's like a seed, and it just grows, and it changes so many times, and I'm consistently rebuilding things and changing things. So like obviously like me building wise, like it takes forever for me to build things because it changes so much. I mean, you know, like even with you know Steel City or any build that you've come into to see, you can come in there one week and then come in there the next, and it's completely different.
Mhm.
Like literally, you just come back in, you're like, this is totally different. Like, yeah, I'd scratch the old
Yeah.
one, you
And
know,
even
and
when
so
that
that's
like you see the beginning stages of it, just know a spark is all it takes to start a bonfire overall, you know? Like just the littlest
exactly,
ideas you can't underestimate. In fact, you have to encourage them because if you underestimate them, you can hinder the seed itself and it won't grow to what its fullest potential could be. You know,
yeah,
and other things we do to hinder those things too, overthinking them and doing all of this stuff. The main topic today is flow state. And flow state involves this place where it's like freedom, right? Absolutely. Like there's studies that actually show that creative flow state can cure trauma.
Yeah.
It's just bliss. And I think that's what we crave, is that just flow state feeling, and I feel like that's where the best creativity happens. Um, but I wanted to touch on that in my definition of like what is flow state, and then
Yeah.
have you talk about it too. So start thinking about it. But flow state is this place where your subconscious is getting all the ideas
Yeah.
straight out. And
Yeah.
so you're in this flow state and you're just pulling things right out of your subconscious. And I always look at it this way: your heart stores things in the subconscious. And so the quickest way for your heart to your art is flow state. And it's the quickest way to get work done. It's the quickest way to get your best work out and the fullest feeling and emotion without overthinking it, overwhelming it, overdoing it, and
Oh yeah.
potentially hindering the idea. Um, what is flow state to you, and what does your flow state look like?
Man, so flow state for me is a gift and a curse. Because for me, as the type of person I am, when I do go on the flow state, I get tunnel vision for weeks, months, to the point where nothing else matters, right? Like I block everything out. A lot of times I'm
Mhm.
missing little details. And so a lot of times, and I actually had to learn to manage that with being a family, having being married and having kids and a wife and all those different things, because that actually ended relationships, and that actually caused issues in my life. Because like, and it's crazy thing too, for a while like I looked at it as if like, screw it, I don't need him anyway, right? It's like tunnel vision. Only this is the only thing that matters. And what happened, dude, it gets so crazy when I get tunnel vision and I work. I might forget to use the bathroom, I might forget to eat. Like
Mhm.
I literally will spend an entire 24 hours straight just working nonstop, and then literally a phone rings, knocks me out, like completely takes me out of the zone. And I'm like, I gotta use the bathroom. Like I gotta eat. Like, and I get things done around the house. Because as soon as I go back in television again, it's over. I might not answer
Yeah.
phone calls, respond to messages, or like none of these things. And so I've been like that most of my life. And the people that are around me and who know me and love and care about me, they understand that. And that's the thing. They know who I am. They know kind of who
Mhm.
I am by now, and they kind of just they support it. Um, and the problem with it is I try to manage that. But if I'm not creating and I'm not in those, I don't get into those, these creative kind of like zones, like I'm unhappy. Like, and it sucks, but at the same time, that's where my passion lies. That's where my love is. And so like obviously I make sure that's second to family and my wife and my loved ones. I try to make sure they're priority. So I've been doing the best in my life to manage that and make sure I take the time away from work and spend time with my kids. I coach my son's Pop Warner teams. I coach all his football teams, and we do travel stuff with him. I try to take my wife out for dinner from time to time. But the entire time I'm doing those things, I'm thinking about work
Mm.
the entire time. And
Yeah.
it sucks, man, because like I said, it's a gift and a curse, because I can never actually relax. It's constantly thinking like of a new thing that I can create or something that I am working on, right? It's like I just want to work on this idea. I want to work on a story, these characters, this, that. So it's really unfortunate at times, but at the same time, like I guess the users and the people that experience these things, they get the benefit of it. And I definitely love it. I love building, I love creating, and people experiencing these things. But at the end of the day, I had to realize just who I am, right? That's just who I am. There's no changing that. There's no changing who I am. There's no changing anything. I can do the best I can balancing it, but yeah, the flow state for me, man, it's literally just tunnel vision where literally I block everything out. And what sucks too is I get really mad sometimes if I get knocked out of that, flow state, or if I'm interrupted during that flow state or any of those. And I'm not a violent person, I'm not gonna like snap at anyone. I'm not gonna be like this. It's just like all a mental thing, right? it's like, oh, in my head, but I'm like, okay, I'm coming. You know, like
Yeah.
that's kind of like the situation. You know, it's like this constant inner battle with myself and like trying to. But yeah, man, flow state is serious because flow state, when I can lock in and just tunnel vision with no interruptions, man, it's the best feeling in the world because it's like everything's clicking on all cylinders and you're just creating and nothing's bothering and you're going, you know, everything's working out and everything's being created exactly how everything's just perfect and you're just getting there, you know, and then you hit that wall at some point where it's like something's not working, something's happening, right? And it's like the most frustrating thing. And you're just
Knocks
like,
you out of
okay,
flow state.
exactly. And it's the most frustrating thing. And then you get into these periods of time of like creative, and I guess it's with anything, not just artists, musicians, whoever has any type of skill set. But then you get into this like block stage where it's kind of like you're frustrated, right? You can't figure anything out. You can't get anything done as fast as you want to, right? And it's just like, what's happening? Like, and then and then after you start, getting through everything, something clicks, and then boom, starts again, right? It's like flow state again. Television, and once everything's kind of clicking and everything's happening, you don't want to stop. When everything's flowing and everything's happening, you don't want to stop. It's like, because you don't want to, catch those moments in time or interruptions and things that happen that completely just throws you off.
Yeah.
So yeah,
no, that's good. That's good.
It's a
thank
crazy
you
situation,
for
man.
that,
And
bro.
you've
I
seen me in
do.
flow state.
Yeah, and
it's to a point
I
where you
have a
come
similar
in.
flow state than like you, where it like has completely. I've had it take my health down completely before, where it's like I need to finish this song, however many takes I need to do. I'll take 1,000 takes of one line again and again if I have to make it perfect or whatever it is. It's just sometimes flow state is getting a bunch of stuff done. Sometimes it's not, but no, thank you for that definition of it, because bro, that's good. And I wanna dive into more on like how you balance all that. But since we're halfway through the show, typically what we would do is do a Q&A, and I want to do that. However, I didn't announce it at the beginning of the show because I feel like I did that last time and like nobody asked a question because I feel like they forgot that I told them to prepare for it. So RJ and I are going to step off for just 2 minutes here, and I'm going to have you guys think of just 2 or 3 audience questions really quick. And then we're going to come back and answer those after just a quick, like 2-minute break. Sound good with everybody? Awesome. All right. We're going to step off really quick and we will be right back. Get your questions ready.
Hey, what's up? This your boy Teray.
C-Fish Shot now. It's your boy Westside.
And you chilling with the Breaking Bread podcast. Hey, tune in and check us out every Saturday. Fucking good talk.
You already know.
Good
The
conversation.
realest songs. You hear me?
Yeah, tune in.
Breaking Bread. Breaking Bread.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy HG. I was 702. Let's get tripping like a kid, untie his shoes. And you see the vibe and you see the move. Where I'm at, that's the Howard Hour Live to be exact. And you can catch me live on Lux Vision Studios to be exact. So make sure you tune in every Friday night, 11 Central, 12 Eastern, and 9 Pacific. And everybody's a somebody. Catch me live on Lux Vision Studio. Let's go.
Awesome. God bless everybody. I'm so glad, amen, that everything is finding you well, and I pray it's finding you well. This is Pastor Johnny live from our sanctuary here in the Metaverse at Word of Grace Meta Church. I want to invite you out to our service here on Sunday nights for worship and the word, now streaming through Lux Vision Studios. So excited about that and what God is doing in this space and place. See you Sunday. God bless you.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Burden of Proof. You're watching Ask the Q Speak Your Truth every Wednesday, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, courtesy of Lux Vision Studios. Later.
What's up, y'all? It's MetaClean, and listen, please join me every Tuesday at 10 p.m. for Meta Talks Live. And the awesome thing is, you don't have to leave your house to do it. Meta Talks Live, coming back soon.
Hello, everyone. I'm All That and Dim Sum, and welcome to Proof's Vibe.
Yeah. Come on out, brother. All right, everybody. We are back. I hope you guys got your questions ready. Did you guys get your questions ready?
That's cool.
Any confetti for anybody that has a question for either of us? Just a question about anything creative. Anything. If not, that's cool. But Fade. You can step up to the global point over here, my brother.
What's up, RJ? What's up, Coda?
What's good, bro?
You know, like where I know you was mentioning sometimes you go to VR chat to find inspiration, right? You saying?
Mm-hmm.
So like what I guess sometimes I'm building, right, and I get builder's block. Like what are ways you use like tactics to get out of that?
Man, honestly, bro, a lot of times the only way you can get that is just taking a break from like everything. Like, so for instance, like if I get blocked or I get in a situation where I'm just frustrated and I can't think of nothing, man, I'll take my kids somewhere, do something, right? Or I'll go out and leave. You know what I'm saying? Like, just take a break. That's the only thing that's gonna even help. Because if you're frustrated and you're sitting there trying to figure things out and things aren't clicking, it's just you're just gonna keep being frustrated. You're gonna keep it's just gonna get worse. You know what I'm saying? So you literally just got to back away from everything and literally just take a breather, man. Go somewhere, do something, come back, then go and try to get inspiration somewhere, right? Or just use those times to get away and get inspirations, while you're out enjoying things, looking at things. Like, for instance, like
That's true.
Yeah, that's the only way I tend to kind of get back in track. Like, for instance, with Steel City, I got mad frustrated. I got to hit a wall. A lot of things it's a lot of work, right? It's a lot going on in there. So my wife was like, she's going to Miami this past week, and I was like, man, I shouldn't go to Miami because I got to get this thing done for like 3 days. And I was like, man, screw it, I'm coming too. You know, like I was like, I'll go to Miami too. So we went to Miami for 3 days. It took me a little breather. I came back and just hit the ground running. You know what I'm saying? So that's probably the best way to do it, man. Just take a break from everything. Yeah, I mean,
same thing with you, Coda.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like taking a break is good, but sometimes what helps is just getting in a space of not having any of the variables. I call them the variables, the outside life things that are bothering you, and you just need to get rid of all of the self hurt that you got going on with your creativity too, because you're your own worst
Yeah.
critic all the time. And I'm
Bro,
always after my art, like I'm not doing this good enough or I'm not doing that, and
the
that
same
hinders
way.
your creativity. And you just got to take a
Yeah.
step away and just make the creativity innocent again, and just make the process pure, where you can, like, sometimes I just go in and just start writing and just writing and writing and writing, and that kind of helps get the flow state juices flowing again.
Yeah.
But taking a break is another great way to always ensure that you can kind of renew your creativity. A reset's always good, and relax during those times. Renew your mind.
Oh yeah,
real.
thanks for the advice, guys. Hell yeah.
Oh man.
Man, thank you for the question. We got another question. Dale,
Man,
step
Dale.
up, brother. What's up, Dale?
Hey guys. Hey Cutter, how are you? I don't really even have a question. I just want to say, RJ, congrats, buddy, and thanks for your service. You know,
Man, get out of here.
Dale, my man.
Thanks for your
Gotta
service,
love Dale.
Dale. Even though you joined the wrong team, but it's all good.
Oh man, that's great. All right, we have any more questions? All right, we're gonna dive back into this flow state thing. Oh wait, we do have one more question. One more question.
Yeah.
Here we go.
All right. Yes. Hello. This
Hi,
is my
Bernice.
first time hearing about it. First time here. What a great session. I plan to be back. Well, RJ sounds like you are a family man, very family oriented. You mentioned your wife and kids, and that's great. So, from a creative standpoint, do you find yourself instilling or teaching or encouraging creativity with your family as well, some way? Or is this something that you just have family and then separate with creativity?
Oh yeah, no. The thing about it is, as a creator, and honestly, that's another reason why I'm on this platform, right? Because you want to be in a creative environment, right? You want to create this environment that you can thrive in and be yourself and be creative. And so I would never want to restrict myself in my own home and around my family and things to just solely. Plus, it's like, who else are you going to be excited to show your creativity to and ideas and things and talk to? I have 3 sons, who are all getting of 13, 10, and 3. And so, as they're getting older, they're getting more intrigued. They're getting more, creative and artistic and interested in the things that I do. And so it's cool because I can show them like, hey, look, I got this coming out, Steel City coming out Friday. And they're like, oh, cool. And I'm showing them photos and this thing. And they want to be creative, right? So I'm really big on creating a creative household because I feel like being creative and having a creative mindset just keeps your mind kind of, I feel like creativity helps with just in general, right? Creativity helped me get out of a lot of dark places in my life. I mean, as Dale said, I was a Marine. I'm a combat vet. So I definitely went to combat, was in Afghanistan, all those things. I went to Afghanistan 3 times. And so, yeah, so being creative helped me and has always been an outlet for me to, kind of take myself away from my environment, which is another reason why VR was a big thing for me, right? It's like, it takes me from reality, right? And puts me into a realm that takes me away from anything that's happening outside of it. When I'm in here, anything outside of it kind of just doesn't matter anymore, right? And so I'd get lost in here, when I had tough times and things over the past couple of years, I would get lost in here because, it was just a way to ease my mind. But I would love for them to have that same mindset and an outlet, and I try to get them into sports or anything for that matter. I don't care if they're creative, I don't care if they're artists or any of those things. I try to get them doing something, being active. But also I feel like being creative and teaching them creativity just opens their mind, makes them more open-minded, makes them think outside of the box, right? and that's not even just with art, just with anything. Because I see myself as a creator, but also see myself as a problem solver, right? Like being a creator, so many different pathways that you can travel down, but there's a lot of times being a creator, you have to be a problem solver, that you have to figure things out. You have to learn workarounds and certain things, especially using software and building on a platform like this or any type of software platform. There's always going to be issues and things of that nature. You have to figure it out, right? And so I try to anything that I do as far as being creative or whatever, right? I use it as life lessons at any given moment for my sons. So like at any point in time, like I just stop right then and there in that moment and I explain to them why that's happening. And then I try to explain to them how they can fix that problem, and I try to teach them in ways because I know they're going to be men one day, to not crumble, to not falter, to not, and try to teach them self-confidence and, I call my kids dumbasses like 5 times a day, just to be honest, because they're young, and a lot of times like I'm like, come on, man, you're intelligent, use your brain, right? It's like figure this out, like daddy, because they want to come to me and ask me for help, which I have no problem helping them figure things out. But a lot of times I make them figure out for themselves, how to draw something, how to do this or do that, right? It's like I'll coach them and I'll teach them in certain ways, but at the same time I try to let them do it and figure it out for themselves. And I'm supportive, I'm not going to sit there and, be mean or say anything out the way. I'm always going to be proud. I'm going to encourage them no matter what it is, or, but my biggest thing with my kids is just like effort. That's the biggest thing for me. And I try to preach and I teach them every day. It's like effort. It's like, even if you're not the best, not the greatest or whatever it is, but as long as you try, right? That's literally it. That's all you can be proud of. So at least you try. You're not going to be good at everything. You're not going to be successful at everything, but you gave it a try. And that's one of the things that I live with in my entire life is just no regrets, like living life with no regrets whatsoever. It's like when, I'm at that final resting place, I'm about to be out of here, I can literally sit and say that I've done everything I wanted to do. I attempted everything I wanted to do, and I have no regrets. And so, and that's the things I try to, teach my kids and stuff. But yeah, we got on a tangent about
that's great.
fathering and things like that. But yeah, so yeah, back to the question though, as far as the creative atmosphere, that's another reason why I'm in the platform, because I'm around other creatives like myself, right? I work a lot remote, so I'm by myself a lot. So I'm not around other creative people like myself a lot of times. And so being in a space where other creatives like myself, it's comforting, right? It's like it's an environment that I want to be in. I want to be around. I want to be around other creative people that I can talk to and help me be more creative and inspire me and support and things of that nature. Because a lot of people who are obviously not in that mindset are not understanding of certain things and this nature. You could tell them like, the problem is I've been a good creator and artist my entire life, right? So, and that's the thing, like everyone knows me as this really good artist. So it's at a point now where it's like, they're not impressed. They're like, oh, that's cool, right? It's like, oh, that's the life I've been living for years. It's to a point now where I'm creating for myself, but like, I'm not getting no from the people around me because that's what I'm known as. But, oh, he's going to do good work. That's RJ. And so, coming into a new space like this and starting to get that attention here actually kind of elevated things. It's giving me some recognition that I look for in being a creator. And it's just like, okay. So it is actually I probably named a bunch of reasons why I'm still here. Like, there's a lot of reasons why I'm still in the space. And
pros outweigh the cons.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then you can, like with VR, you can escape, like as far as like with the creativity thing, you can jump in here and meet creatives. You can, you pretty much, it's VR is awesome.
It's a whole other world. It's my second life, separate from my real life. I always tell people I feel like I go to my like day job and then I come home and I'm like I feel like it's like a Batman thing.
Yeah,
You
I got
know,
more
I come
friends
in
in here
here
than
and
I do in
it's
real life at the moment.
exactly same here. Yeah.
And it's
Um
crazy because I have a lot of friends outside of here, long year friends. I got like a whole crew of guys and people. I have friends and stuff outside here, but I talk to the people in here and socialize and interact with the people more in here than I do my actual friends, which
that's
kind of
what's neat about
sucks.
it. We're all like the
Yeah,
like-minded people, like
yeah,
all just kind of found each other and pretty quickly too.
yeah.
Because we'll end up in the same rooms and around the same people, just like-minded. So it's like I feel like I met everybody in the community all because it
It's
all kind of
funny. It's
trickled
like
down to where we were hanging out. Like,
these obviously you have real friends and real connections and real people in here, right? But it's like you got
yeah,
people outside of here. It's like, oh, why don't you just hang out with your real friends? It's like, well, they're actual real people in the
these are my real
headset.
friends right
Yeah,
here.
it's
Yeah,
like these are real people. They're not just like
but it yeah.
NPCs.
As a second life though, it's time consuming and so is creating and balancing your social life and your own like well-being and like your literal physical health. I'm talking about mental well-being too.
Yeah.
Um your family, everything, the overwhelming amount of amazing ideas that you have coming in. How do you balance like what's a balanced healthy schedule look like for a flow state where you are not shooting yourself in the foot? Like what would you tell to a person who's looking to create a healthy schedule where it's like I want to make my best work and center it around flow state and implement that in my life, but I don't want to take away from my own health or my relationships or my life at all. What's a healthy balance?
So that's the problem. You're asking the wrong person that question. Literally, like I don't have that
Yeah.
figured out, and I don't think I ever will. That's the unfortunate thing. Like it's to the point right now where I've tried to manage that. I've tried to, and the only thing I figured out was to find people that can support who I am and what I do and all those things. That's it. That's literally it. You have to find someone and people who support what you do and are, you know, completely understanding of who you are. That's literally it. Other than that, because the problem is when you try to manage it and you restrict yourself, right? You're not happy because you're having to figure all this out and manage this and manage that. The only way to actually be happy and is literally find the environment that supports you for who you are. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a balance too. You do have to have some sort of balance. Like obviously I have to make an effort to be there for my kids and my wife and my family and things of that nature, right? Um, but as far as like trying to balance it, there's really no schedule for me. There's no balance. It's literally just me like, okay, let's see, I've been on here for like 5 hours. Let me get off and play with my kids, you know? Or
Yeah.
so this is the best one for me, and this is what I mean from rule of thumb. At least once a day, right? Stop what you're doing, acknowledge your wife, like, hey, babe, how was your day? You know, how everything's going. Make sure she's fine. Talk to your kids, right? Make sure your kids are good, you know, things of that nature. Spend time with them, then get back to work, right? That's kind of what my mindset is and how I do. The problem was I would go days of not doing that, weeks, you know. And I realized like the only way to balance it is if I just take a moment at each day to spend time with my family and like whatever, you know, because the thing is that
Be
gives me,
intentional
well,
about
yeah,
it.
because that gives me time to stop get out of flow state, stop what I'm doing, and actually spend time with them, which actually might prolong a few hours, right? Or I might make dinner or have to go to the store, grab things and spend time, do this. And then my wife's like, hey, you want to go out for dinner? Yeah, sure, you know, right? But when I'm in flow state, that's not even like I'm not even thinking like that, right? It's like
Yeah.
I'm just straight work mode, and anyone interrupting me, I'm getting annoyed, and I'm just like I just want to work, right? So
Yeah.
I had to pick. That's kind of what it is for me right now, and my balance is just picking that moment throughout the day to stop what I'm doing and just figure out what's going on in my health
Yeah.
and with everyone around me.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I mean, you kind of talked about that you've been through a lot too. and we don't have to go into like super more detail about stuff, but just I wanted to ask more like, I mean, I'll say first actually, it doesn't matter how intelligent you are, how creative you are, how talented you are, you cannot outsmart emotion. You cannot outcreate emotion. You cannot outrun it. You have to face it at some point or another. It's all just everybody processing emotion differently. Some of us run from it, some of us actually face it and process it and become emotionally intelligent. Um, what role does emotional intelligence play in your art, and like how do you use art to process emotions? Like how have you? Could you go into more
Man,
depth on
honestly,
that?
my best work has been in my darkest times, like literally,
Mm.
because like so yeah, it's like it's funny because obviously life is good. I can't complain right at the moment. And I'm still obviously creating great things. But what happens is my flow state deepens, right? I go into a shell. Like when things get dark and things get a certain way, and that's another thing, you know, like if things start happening, I just go into a shell and then flow state is however long, right? It's just like until I'm, you know, till the light at the end of the tunnel in a sense, right? Something changes or something happens. And that's kind of how it worked for me for years. And so like literally like it'd be talking, I was in like a fog or a daze or just like this mental, like, you know, creative fog when things started happening around me. So that was even from a kid, you know, because I didn't have the greatest upbringing either. I mean, I had a lot of things as a kid. So I didn't have the, you know, I had a lot going on. So I didn't have like, you know, so that I had tough. That's why, you know, when I went to the Marine Corps and then I went straight to the Marine Corps and then that obviously wasn't easy. So like in all those moments, you know, even in school, so like in school, I didn't do any schoolwork. Like I was not an idiot, but I wasn't a genius, but I was capable of getting straight A's and doing everything I was supposed to in school. You know, I graduated and passed all my grades, I did just enough to get through school, right? Like literally just enough. But like I was one of those kids like the teachers loved and they kind of supported and was all for like doing, you know, good, but they couldn't get to me. They would literally try to, but like I'd be in a shell, like a creative shell all the time. Like literally, like instead of doing my schoolwork, my teacher would call my mom like every other day about RJ's drawing in class again and not doing his schoolwork every other day because I would literally be in the shell just drawing,
Man,
creating stories and you
yeah,
know just literally as an entire life like I've been creating stories and characters and things my entire life like literally like I would create whole towns like I'd be in like social studies. I'd create my own town, give it a name, literally draw a map where everything was, created like a whole like mayor, name him, you know what I'm saying, like crazy stuff, yeah, like
yeah.
ridiculous stuff. I would do
Mm-hmm.
like whole like RBG board games and stuff where I would create. I remember I created a whole 150 card deck of like battle monsters cards and stuff, and all the kids in school was like, "Ah, that's so insane!" And someone stole them. I was too mad because I literally sat and drew every monster on every card. And someone stole the whole
Yeah.
150 deck. I was so mad, and I would draw comic books. I had stacks of like just straight up folded paper, computer paper stapled comic books like this of just different stories and characters and things like that. Like I'm telling you, like the entire time I was in Afghanistan, I was drawing in my pet like the deal. Like there's like a little post book like where you have to log in your times and go in it. I would draw in there, which you're not supposed to. I would draw on the walls in the post. You know, I would draw like constantly, like literally the entire time I was in the Marine Corps, I was drawing ideas, come up with concepts and things of what I was going to do when I got out because I knew I wasn't going to do more than 4 years because I did 4 years and 3 deployments in 4 years is crazy. I literally was home for 3 months and went back to Afghanistan.
Man.
Yeah. So yeah, it was one of those things where yeah, it was crazy, man. And so those times were like put me in these bubbles of being creative and creating ideas. And that actually so when I was in Afghanistan, I came up with the idea to start a clothing brand. And when I did that, it started everything, right? I wasn't a graphic artist. I wasn't anything. I literally didn't know what I was going to do with art at all. I was like, the only thing I could think of was start a clothing line, right? So I started this brand called Lovable Nation, and what happened was I was a graffiti artist. So I actually got arrested for graffiti. Yeah. So I actually got arrested.
For real?
Yeah, I did 45 days in jail for graffiti.
Oh man.
So check it out. So I think yeah, it was stupid. I was young and dumb, but I went on a whole tangent of graffitiing walls and stuff in this little beach town, Wilmington, that's like 80-90% white. And so there's not graffiti anywhere. So like it's mad easy to get caught if you're spray painting really good stuff on walls in a city that has no graffiti and is a small, like 100,000 populated town, beach town, like a tourist town. And so I was I was sitting on the porch in high school. I was like 17. I was my senior in high school. I was sitting on the porch in the middle of the night, and I look across the street, and we're on my buddy's porch, and there's this massive white picket fence that's taller than me. Went that span. I was like, I looked at it, and I looked at it like a canvas. Problem was, it's this really rich lady that lives there. And so I spray painted this entire fence, right? And that's kind of what started everything, because I was spray painting stuff for a while, like everywhere. And then when I got up the next morning, my friend calls like, dude, they have like the SWAT team out here. There's cops everywhere. It looks like it's a crime scene. I was like, what? So I didn't think much of it. Went to school, and then they came. The gang task force unit came and got me at school and everything. They thought it was a gang. They thought this level name was an actual gang that was in the city. And me being stupid told somebody like, no, that's not a gang. That's me. It's just me. One guy spray painting level everywhere. The next thing I get arrested for it. So I didn't get jail time for it. They put me on like a restricted situation. They put me on probation. I didn't want to be on probation for any longer than I had to, because I wanted to go in the Marine Corps. And so they told me, it was like, you can go to jail for 45 days, get off probation, go to the Marine Corps. And that's exactly what I did. I went to jail 45 days and went straight to the Marine Corps.
Man, dude.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a lot of crazy stuff. The crazier part is I had a full ride scholarship, art scholarship, that I lost because of that.
Really?
Yeah, I would have went to the Art Academy of San Diego on a full ride, but because of that situation, I lost it.
Dang. And do you feel like that was something that was meant to happen? Still,
Dude, everything happens for a reason. I don't regret anything, because literally everything that's happened in my life, anything that's happened led me to where I am right now, right? My kids wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be with my wife right now. Like everything, I wouldn't even be in VR probably right now. I mean, I probably still would be, but I wouldn't be in here in this capacity, creating and doing the things I'm doing in here, right? So that's the thing, like everything happens for a reason. So I don't regret nothing I've done, the decisions I made, nothing. Like at the end of the day, it was supposed to happen, right? Everything. And like I look at it right now, it's just my kids are the prime example for any decisions I made in my life. And so that's what makes me not regret anything. But yeah. I just hit my vape, man.
Very good.
That was cloudy. But yeah, nah, man. So yeah, like I said, I don't live with any regret and things like that. But yeah, nah, man. But during those times, that's the thing. That's what made me be who I am, and tap into that creativity and stay in that realm of like being creative and thinking of ideas. But like I said from the beginning, dude, like it's just you got it or you don't. You got the eye, you don't. And it's just certain people, creativity, mindset, your mindset, how your brain works. It's just certain people's brain works differently. Some people are more creative than the others, and all those, that's just what it is. And
it's all it's all just people's part in the universe, in where we are now. Everybody serves a role, and everybody has a purpose, a very important purpose. And it's man.
But that's the thing too, getting back to a big topic, and which is even in this space and all our space, you get people who are salty, right? Of you as a creator, things that you're doing, and the things of this nature and that nature, right? He's creating this, he's got this, he's doing this, he's doing that, blah blah. It's like, but literally, it's like I can't help how I create, right? If you can't keep up and you can't create on my level or who I am as a creator, that's not my problem, right? That's just who I am. I'm unfortunately a better creator, right? So if you feel some type of way, maybe this is not where you belong. right?
Right.
That's just what it is. Like you come in here, you create for a particular reason, like for pastime or just to hang out and do certain things, right? That's fine. Like you can be a
Mhm.
creator in here, not be the best creator, not be this creator, but still have fun and be creative and have fun creating. But when you start being salty towards somebody else who's technically a better creator than you, it makes no sense to me. Like it's like
Right. And
I'm you know,
yeah, everybody's. I mean, and what you were saying about the environment too, like your environment has to see your value. If your
yeah,
environment wants to change you, you should probably change your environment type of thinking.
exactly.
But like you can't let opinions affect your work ethic. Can't let opinions affect any of that.
Yeah. Well,
And
the big thing here is, and one thing I know Dale over there appreciate what I'm about to say. The one thing with Steel City and this bill that I'm trying to change is the blueprint and the structure of how this place is being completely ransacked by these crapshoot games and all these different worlds that just people are not putting any thought into and just putting out just to make quick money, right? It's
yeah,
beyond annoying because right now, what people are not realizing is Meta isn't creating a blueprint. They're watching us. They're going off what we do in the space, right? They're going off of, okay, this is working. Let's do this. Let's support this, right? So you got a lot of these worlds that are getting a lot of traffic. And so they're putting everything behind these worlds because of the numbers that they're doing, right? And so that's kind of the situation we're in right now. So I'm hoping with Steel City that I'm able to show people that you can be original, you can create original content, and you can do it in this capacity where you can still be successful. And so I'm hoping that this changes the entire blueprint and outlook on the platform in a sense where it's like forces people to be original, forces people to think outside about and create on this scale. You know what I'm saying? Because it's possible. I'm showing that, right? That's
yeah,
literally the point of Steel City. This is possible. So
with the
and
with
I'm
the right
hoping
motives. With
yeah,
the
well,
right
that's the thing.
motives.
I didn't jump into Steel City with money in mind, right? I didn't
Mhm.
start building Steel City because I'm like, oh, this is gonna make me a lot of money. No, I didn't. Like, it's
Mm-mm.
literally an idea, a story, something that I put my all into, every detail, the storyline, something that I'm actually really connected to. You know, like it's to the point where I'm actually connected to the actual robots in my city, like by name. Like I'll literally walk into my city, like, "What up, Six?" You know, like this is my
Mhm.
boy Six right here. This is my
Yeah.
boy. You know, I actually have these connections with these characters that I'm creating, you know? And so that's the thing. That's what I'm trying to create and show people like this is possible and this but it all has to be number back, right? This has to have the numbers to be able to back, this the idea that this is what it should be. And
Mhm.
so that's what we're hoping. Obviously, when it drops Friday, that it just floods, it stays flooded, the numbers, and and then that'll show Meta like, okay, yeah, this is it. And then that's the new blueprint, right? That's kind of that's what's happening. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I want to say too, just know that it will do numbers because you put your heart into it properly. And I see so many people on the platform um trying to create, people that are creating. I see people pay other people to create for them so that they can run a platform or run a different thing. And that's so great that we have a community that can help support each other in that
yeah,
way because it works both ways.
yeah,
But I also see a lot of just wrongly motivated creatives just everywhere in the artist field and the music industry right now. It's just flooded, and it's flooded to an extent where it's hard to even break through the mud of all the people that want to be creatives, so to speak, in quotes, if you can see this in quotes, creatives, but wrongly motivated by money,
yeah,
by trying to impress people, by getting a popular status, by just feeling better. Um, but just know that if you're creating like that, your art isn't going to go anywhere, and it's not actually really necessarily art even.
yeah. But
And
the
it's
thing
not going to
about it
turn out
is,
the way that you want. You're not going to get the results that you want.
yeah. Well, the thing about it is, there's nothing wrong with trying to make money and do whatever. 'Cause
sure.
That's what gaming. That's what
Yeah.
these gaming companies do, right? With apps and all these different app platform things and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the thing about it is all these different, this music industry, all these industries, they go off the user, right? They go off what the user wants, what they're attracted to, and all these things. It's all about algorithms and all those different things to make money. And so the thing about it is it's not the creator's fault in a sense, because at the end of the day, like it's the users are going to gravitate what they like and what they don't like. So you have a lot of talented creators and artists in here and people that are doing things from the heart and building with emotion, but it doesn't resonate with audiences in here, right? Because it's a very narrow, small audience that's driving the numbers right now, right? And so that's the thing, like if you're trying to build that way or a certain way, then a lot of times this is probably not the platform, right? And what is needed is probably a platform that people with those, you know, skill sets and wanting to build to be able to build and be appreciated on, right? Because this platform is turning into be a gaming app, right? It started funneling kids and trying to like promote the kids, right? And so that's the thing. That's the unfortunate thing, honestly. This whole platform is just going to turn into a more stylized Roblox or more stylized, you know, Rec Room, you know, literally that's all it's going to be. And what they're doing is trying to keep up with these other platforms and things, and that's the problem what people don't are realizing. I'm gonna do the best I can to combat whatever and try to steer the platform in a certain direction and this and that. I'm gonna do whatever I can. I can't make any promises, but you know, I will see. You know, once this drops, once this drops Friday, kind of is just like let's see what happens, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's all we can do. But like I said, I mean, as far as like the people who are creating in here just trying to make money and this and that, I mean, that's I have nothing against it. It's just
No.
what I
No.
have a problem with is the people that are talking and acting a certain way about it.
Mm.
Right? If you're the nicest person in the world and you're cool and you're like, man, I'll just make it whatever to just make this money, but I can respect that,
For
right?
sure. Yeah.
But when you knock me for what I do, when you're feeling some type of way, entitled, or talking to people a certain way and feeling like that's totally different. It's like, look,
Mhm.
bro, like make your money, do whatever you got to do, but like it doesn't mean anything. Like
Right.
you know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean a thing. Like what are these? Like those people. I don't really consider creators in a sense or creatives. You know, like
Yeah.
those people are just making money.
Right.
That's
When
it.
on the contrary, creativity for creatives is our life. It's our everything. It's what we put our all into. So it's
Yeah.
like a don't tread on that type of thing. Don't mix
Yeah.
the bad motives with the creativity. Yeah, definitely not anything wrong with making money in here. You definitely
No,
should.
no, no. I have nothing against that, but I
Yeah,
got plenty of friends that are in that boat, and they're cool, and I'm cool with them, and we're cool. You
for
know.
sure. Yeah,
And they want to
absolutely.
make cool stuff, and they want to make creative art stuff, but they know that's not making money right now, and I completely respect it. You know.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like, but still, you just got. It's just there's a lot of energy in the space, and it's sad because it's among the top, and it's among the people with access and abilities in here, and it's just like, bro, get off your high horse or whatever, you know, like at the end of the day, like, you know, what you do, it's not sustainable, right? It's not something you're literally having to fight for like that trending and the dollars and the constantly putting out crap shoot worlds to kind of keep up the pace and keep things going. And it's just like, for what? Why not just build something that can stand the test of times? Build something that has structure to it, something that it can be, you know, saying you can be proud of. And you know, that's where I get at. But yeah, I
Yeah.
don't dive
And
much into that.
no,
but
that's good. And you just have you just have so many ideas. So many ideas.
it
And I
don't
relate
stop.
to you. I kind of have a similar like childhood like type of creative mind where it was just like I was always just drawing and
Yeah.
could never get me away. I was getting in trouble for it and same type of thing. Always was out like during lunch or whatever coming up with imaginary worlds with my friends and imaginary worlds with my imaginary friends and all that
Yeah.
stuff. But how do you, I mean, you told me one time that you were, just like the kid that never stopped drawing. How do you keep your, like, I guess your imagination flowing? What's the key to your imagination? And how do you just like keep a constant flow of ideas coming? For you, I know it's second nature. You walk around. For me, it's
Yeah.
just like I have too many ideas. I don't know what to do with them. I'm overwhelmed with ideas. It's a problem actually. And we're gonna talk about that maybe in another week. But
Yeah.
it's like how do you, some people barely even manage to get one idea, and it's hard to get the ball rolling because friction and being in that flow state breeds all the creativity. But um how do you get the ball rolling though? How do you get all these ideas? How do you like sort of pull the dam down and let the water of ideas flow?
Yeah. So kind of how I work. A lot of times, like I have a million ideas at one time, right? And so what I do is I actually technically work on all of them at simultaneously at times, where I'll just literally start working out a couple ideas, and then once I find that one thing, right, or something that's like intriguing or like just I latch onto, and then I take that path, right? For example, I wanted to do a stranded tri-mesh world. I wanted to do underwater tri-mesh world. I wanted to do horror, whatever, right? I had so many options to do with tri-mesh. And Steel City kind of came about because literally like Six, the robot, who I have this connection with from building Neon City, because Six was a robot and a story and everything I started creating around Six. Neon City kind of was built around him. And so then I was like, man, I want to make Six in tri-mesh real quick. So I built them out in tri-mesh. And then that's when it kind of clicked. I was like, I'm about to build, Steel City or Neon City, but doing it in tri-mesh. And what it was just that initial, like, just that Six the robot working on him. And then I was like, this is it, right? When I have multiple different pathways I could have went different. It's just that one thing I lock onto, and then it's just kind of on, like, over it from that point on, and then everything else is just kind of silent.
Yeah.
And
I remember when you texted me that, dude, Neon City, tri-mesh. That was it. That's all you texted me. I was just like, oh, this dude's about to go in. Oh man. But yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's good, man. So just keeping the imagination flowing all the time.
Yeah,
and
nah. Well, you got, but the thing about it is, it's like you kind of have to keep your brain running like a motor, right? Like,
Yeah.
you got to keep things going. You got to keep
it's gotta
doing things.
idle so it doesn't
Yeah.
die. It's
Well,
like,
well, that's the problem. You got a lot of creative talented people who were younger who got careers and went off and did something totally different, and then their lives are not
Mhm.
as creative, and they fall out of it, right? They just don't have it, the ability to be creative anymore, and they don't really think about it. They don't want whatever. They move on, and they're not as creative as
Right.
they used to be. A lot of times, and that's this thing. I never stopped being creative. Never stopped thinking the way I am. I never, think the way I do. So I think that's why I was able to kind of keep my level of imagination and creativity all through the years into where I am now. Just I stayed being creative and stayed kind of being that way. So that's why I plan on doing that with my kids. But yeah, I mean that's the thing. I just find that one thing, man, and latch onto it and take off, and I run it. It's funny too because it's like a business, right? It's like multiple business where it's like a business kind of idea where you start a business and it doesn't work out, right? It's like, okay, this ain't making me money, or this isn't going to work out. So you jump onto the next business. Okay, I gotta try this out and see how this works. Okay, this is not a great market for it, right? So then jump to the next business. This might be something. Let me put some money into this, blah blah. Right? It's the same thing with my thought process, ideas, and being creative. Like I'll venture down, and I'm kind of like, I kind of like the story or the idea or the pathway I was going. I'm not really feeling it anymore. I kind of more intrigued by this idea, right? That's kind of how I navigate. So like I can be working on, something underwater one day, and the next I could be doing Steel City, So that's kind of back and forth, but that's, yeah. And then it's just flow state from that point on, right? It's like once you get flow state on that one idea, it's just done. Everything else doesn't matter anymore.
And it all centers around flow state.
Exactly.
So much happens in flow state. Flow state is magic. And thank you for all of your advice on flow state and everything that you've talked about today.
Yeah.
This has been such a valuable conversation. Seriously. I think
Yeah,
we're
man,
kind of
might as
rounding
well.
third, heading for home, and I'm like, I want to do a little like conclusion here and just kind of give a drop down. This is actually something Gail told me that I should run in with the end of this episode. But basically, we covered everything about flow state, about how to get in a flow state, get the ball moving, to getting into flow state, staying in it, what happens during flow state. That's where all the magic is. So the biggest takeaways really are drop all of the self-critiquing, drop all of the opinions, and at the same time face your emotions and utilize them. Think on those things, meditate on those things in your flow state, because flow state is meditation, and that's where your subconscious can pull out your best ideas from the deepest parts of your soul, from the deepest parts of your heart. And don't always ever feel bad for the darkness or the bad things that you're going through, because there's a purpose for all of it. Everything that you're going through, all the mistakes, all the happiest moments are all different things that affect where you are today and that got you in the position that you're in. So the saying that I'll leave you all with is what I said at the end of last episode and what I hope to say at every episode, something I wrote a while ago, and it's a simpler reminder that says you are extraordinarily special, extravagantly made. The world is just a blank canvas without you as the paint. Thank God every day for tribulations and their decay. Your creation would go to waste without you using your pain. Thank you guys for coming to week 2 of Nurturing Your Creativity, and we will be back next week for week 3. Thank you again, RJ. Let's go. Come on, bro.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy Teray.
C-Fish Shotland. Boy, West Side.
And you chilling with the Breaking Bread podcast. Hey, tune in and check us out every Saturday. Fucking good talk.
You already know.
Good
The
conversation.
realest songs.
Yeah, tune in.
Breaking bread.
I know.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy HG. I was 702. Let's get tripping like a kid untied shoes. And you see the vibe and you see the move. Where I'm at, that's the Howard Hour Live to be exact. And you can catch me live on Lux Vision Studios to be exact. So make sure you tune in every Friday night, 11 Central, 12 Eastern, and 9 Pacific. And you know, everybody for somebody. Catch me live on Lux Vision Studio. Let's go.
Awesome. God bless everybody. I'm so glad, amen, that everything is finding you well, and I pray it's finding you well. This is Pastor Johnny live from our sanctuary here in the Metaverse at Word of Grace Meta Church. I want to invite you out to our service here on Sunday nights for worship and the word, now streaming through Lux Vision Studios. So excited about that and what God is doing in this space and place. See you Sunday. God bless you.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Burden the Proof. You're watching Ask the Q Speak Your Truth every Wednesday, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, courtesy of Lux Vision Studios. Later.
Appreciate you guys.
What's up, y'all? It's Metaclean, and listen, please join me every Tuesday at 10 p.m. for Meta Talks Live. And the awesome thing is, you don't have to leave your house to do it. Meta Talks Live coming back soon.
Just a couple of dudes, right? A couple of guys being dudes.
Didn't even realize that.
Hello, everyone. I'm All That and Dim Sum, and welcome.
It was really just a recorded conversation of RJ and I. That's really how it is. I get in there in that order and everything. Yeah, so, you know, I've been doing all this, but now I got this other one. This is stuff on the hood, and bro, get this Biggie's working on this, and bro, it's all happening. It's just it keeps going. Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. Yeah. Dude, thank you for asking a question, bro. It's like nobody's gonna ask me that question. I just got to the point, bro. You did, bro. That's what's I got a question. So a good question.
I'll do the question. Hold on. Yeah, it's a legit question though, like for real. Like,
Bro, you took one of the questions I was gonna ask RJ right then. I was gonna ask him that, and you stepped in and asked him that. That's what's crazy about it, bro. That's that.
Nah, cause yep.
That's that guy, the dude mindset right there.
Bro, but for real though, cause like sometimes I get builder's block and I just like should I go off the game or do something to inspire me, like in VR chat, yo, dead ass.
Yeah,
I
bro.
build on doing right now. Show the girls. I got inspired by VR chat.
Mm.